All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is January 21st. We got a 6-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the spread. We'll give you a lean on a total. Talk about any player props we like and all of those things. But all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself if you do want to fade those picks and do the opposite. Those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. Last night, we'll take the 2-1 night. We were one Chet Holmgren 3 away from a sweep, but again, can't cry over profit. Colin Sexton crushes his line yet again. John Collins gets an assist. All we needed was one. He got a couple. And then Chet Holmgren, like I said, 1-3 away from cashing. But nonetheless, we'll take the profitable night there. In terms of our ride of the day, we actually have nothing to talk about here. LaMelo Ball, late scratch, so Jacob, who is on a streak right now, gets another chance today to drop his ride of the day because LaMelo Ball did not play. So it was not a loss. We ride with someone until they lose. But make sure you get your hashtag ride of the days in the comments, even if you are not Jacob, because we're scouting and looking for who is going to be next if or when Jacob does come up with a loss here. But Jacob, make sure to get your ride of the day in the comments, and everyone else use that hashtag ride of the day. If you don't know how it works, I jump on board with someone's pick in the comments. You get a shout out in the next video, win or loss, and I shout you out over on my Twitter/X there, so make sure to follow me there. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. We're starting off with the Clippers taking on the Nets. Now, nothing in my brain says that the Nets win this game. I guess, it could be weird because it's like an afternoon game. We know how NBA afternoon games can get. They can get a little dicey sometimes. But I am going to lean Brooklyn plus the points. I just think it's a little bit too much to be giving Brooklyn in this spot. The Clippers have not covered this line in 5 straight games. They've only covered or won by more than 11 in 3 of their last 10, whereas Brooklyn has actually covered this in 8 of their last 10 and in 7 straight games. So again, it's a numbers game for me today. The Clippers are far superior to this Nets team. This Nets team started out really, really well against the spread and kind of drifted off into being one of the worst teams against the spread probably in the last month or so. And Zubac still out for the Clippers, so that is a kind of a big hit for them as well. So I just think it's a little bit too much to be laying down. I don't know if I have the cojones to make the Nets plus 11 a final play, so keep an eye on the pinned comment. But as of right now, leaning towards the Nets plus the points. Total sitting at 225. I do think that this one remains a low-scoring game. However, 225 is fairly low. I'm still going to lean towards the under, but it's definitely not a lean that I love. I don't think that this one becomes a final play either. Player props in this spot, I could look at Nick Claxton. 8 of his last 10 games, he's had a double-double. He's done it in 4 of his last 5. And again, without Zubac there, big man down low, maybe he has some extra opportunity for boards and points. Plumlee's down there, big man, so obviously he could, rot this double-double. But that is a slight lean that I've had in this game as well. But overall, again, afternoon games, not always the most trustworthy NBA games whatsoever. All right, next up, we have Orlando taking on Miami. These are 2 teams that I don't think are playing their best basketball. Miami plays Atlanta last game, and Jimmy Butler comes back, and still they lose just by 1 point, but they were 7-point favorites in that game. They were also at home, so tough loss there to swallow. Orlando, their last loss against Philly, they lose 124-109. Philly playing some good basketball. I guess you can't really fault them for that, but then recent opponent, common opponent, right? They lost by 2 to Atlanta just about 4 days ago, so it's like both these teams not playing that well. Atlanta being a recent game for both of them, and they're right there with Atlanta. So it is kind of interesting to see that these 2 teams are on such a similar plane, which makes me just kind of by default lean towards the home team in this spot. Now, I told you guys I probably wouldn't trust Orlando until Wagner gets back, but nonetheless, this is a spot where I just think that these 2 teams are pretty evenly matched, and Orlando's home, and they're getting a point. So I'll lean towards them overall. And then in terms of a total, I don't mind the under. I know it's super low, but if you look at some of these recent games for Miami, they're very low scoring, and same thing for Orlando. Like, Orlando has been really struggling to score the rock. 92, 96, 100, 98, 104, and 109 in their last 6 games. That is damn low. And then you even look at the last 5 for the Heat, right? 99, 104, 95, 97, 108. So I don't necessarily think that these are defensive, they're being swarmed defensively by the teams that they're playing. Like, Miami's played Brooklyn, Charlotte, Atlanta in their last 5 or so. And then Orlando's played, Atlanta and teams that they should be scoring a lot of points against as well, and they're just not. So it's like these offenses are struggling. So I think it's going to be an under for an offensive reason, and lack thereof, I should say, rather than the defense. In terms of player props here, I've taken a peek at Bam Adebayo's under points, rebounds, and assists, but just getting nuked. It's like his points and rebounds line was 35 recently. Now his PRA line is 35, so I don't mind the under looking at Bam Adebayo just based on how this Magic team is long and can, you know, switch out a few guys. Like, they can give him Batadze and Banchero on any sort of a switch or anything like that, and it's like, yeah, they can both kind of limit him, but it is still Bam Adebayo, so it's tough to look at his unders. He's been cashing lately, but now that line's dropped so much that it's like, all right, what do we do? Just like the Colin Sexton thing we talked about. We keep hammering Colin Sexton's points over when it was 17.5, 18.5, 19.5. The minute that thing gets to 20.5 and 21.5, we probably won't pull the trigger on the over, even though it is a small difference. Same thing for Bam Adebayo. We've hit some of his unders, but now that that line's so low, is that risk really worth the reward? Not necessarily sure. So I do look at his, in terms of other spots, I don't mind looking at Jimmy Butler or Tyler Hero's facilitation here in terms of over their assist lines. Two leans that I don't mind in this spot. All right, Washington 13.5 point dogs against Denver. I mean, Denver should win this game. Are you comfortable laying 13.5 points? If so, go ahead and lay it. I think that is a lot of points, obviously, but you can't really trust Washington. So I'll lean Denver minus the points here. My favorite spot in this game is probably looking at the under. I don't think that Denver's going to need to score a lot of points to win this game. And then when they do kind of get to a substantial lead, I think that they slow this thing down. We kind of saw it when who we just bet on recently. We had the New York game, right? Washington played New York. The Knicks were 12-point dogs. They are 12-point favorites. They did not cover that game, but they kind of controlled the game enough where they could play at their pace, and that game finished at 113 to 109, closing line of 233.5. So I think this could be a very similar spot here. That being said, Washington is at home. Maybe that changes things a little bit, but you know, home versus road for teams that are at the bottom of the barrel here. Don't think it matters all that much. So give me the under 238 as my predominant lean in this spot. Now, when you look at unders here, then I start to consider some unders for guys like Jamal Murray, under 36.5 points plus rebounds and assists. I also don't mind Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's under 13 points plus rebounds. Do I think these guys have bad games? No, but this could easily be sort of a blowout type night. And Jamal Murray's only had over 36.5 points plus rebounds and assists in 5 games this season. He's only done it 2 of his last 10. Last time he played Washington last year, he finished with 17, 6, and 8, which is well under, and that was in nearly 34 minutes of play. So could be something similar where they just don't need their main guys. Jokic, he could play half a game and like somehow hit his overs because it's just crazy if they're not nuked numbers. Whereas all the other guys, you know, they kind of have to have this 30 minutes of play, I feel like, to be able to get these numbers, and there might be a chance they don't get to 30 minutes. So I'll lean towards, you know, probably mainly here Jamal Murray's under, but it's not my favorite lean. I'll tell you guys in these spots when I actually like a player prop and has a chance. Like yesterday, we liked player props way more than, you know, game sides or totals. Today, I don't know if it's the case. So keep an eye on the pin comment, guys. We'll keep you guys posted. Before we continue on with this slate, guys, if you do want to support what we're doing here and help us grow and get some great merch at the same time, head over to fademe.store. Use code FADE. You'll get a discount at checkout. We have some great products over there right now. Check it out, fademe.store. Again, we've put in a lot of work into this brand, and you guys have made it successful, so thank you to everybody that has supported it so far. Go check it out, guys, fademe.store. Now let's get back to this slate. Celtics taking on Rockets. So these two teams just played recently, and the Celtics mollywopped the Rockets. They're big favorites. I believe it was like 15-point favorites, and Celtics won 145 to 114 or 113, something like that. Now they're big favorites again, but they're on the road. The Celtics team a lot better at home than they are on the road. Their first home loss was a couple nights ago against Denver on the road. Denver was on the road, Boston at home, to make that clear. I don't think that the Celtics have any trouble bouncing back and winning this game tonight, but it's not the most confident spot, I would say, in terms of 11 points to Houston at home. Now, Houston has been on an absolute decline, right? But I've told you guys all year long, Houston at home versus Houston on the road, way different team. They've played, of their last 10 games, 6 of those games on the road. Only one of those didn't cover in any of them. So that's where the decline comes. They have their first home game back last night. So, okay, fine. Make the argument they're on a back-to-back. Go for it. And they win 127 to 126 against Utah. So it's like, there we go. Hard-fought game, you know, take it up to the wire. And they win as you know, I think they're 2-point favorites. So they didn't cover, but nonetheless, like, they're back home and they finally get a win, right? This is a different team at home. So do I think the Celtics win this game? Yes, I could see them winning by probably 6 to 12 points. that's only 1 point of that margin that I'm giving, that range. Only 1 point covers this line here. So I kind of stick away from that. From a total perspective here, I think this game goes into the 230s. I think the Celtics just, especially after a game in which they were kind of bottlenecked by Denver, I think that they kind of explode. So we've seen them have games like they scored 102 against Milwaukee, a bad game, right? Next game, funny after playing Rockets again, they played against the Rockets and dropped to 145. Like, this team, I think, kind of bounces back from some losses in a good way, and I think the Celtics scored a decent amount of points today. So I'll lean towards the over. That Rockets defense has been good at home, but we just saw them in Utah go into OT, I believe, and score a bunch of points, right? So it's like maybe their defense isn't firing on all cylinders as of right now. Now, from a player prop perspective, we're still waiting on lines to come out in this game. It's fairly early as we do this, so we'll keep you guys posted in the pinned comment. Nothing really to go over as of right now. Next up, we got the Suns taking on the Pacers. Now, the Pacers getting back to full strength, right? Tyrese Halliburton should be good to go here. Nembhard should be good to go. And that starting lineup all of a sudden looks pretty damn cool, right? Like Halliburton, Siakam, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and then Nesmith. Like, not a bad team. Do the Pacers get back to where they were earlier in the year when they were playing some good basketball? I think eventually, but as of right now, Halliburton just getting back. Last game, he did play 35 minutes, so, kind of jumps right back into it. Had a good game, 21, 17, and 2, which is absolutely absurd that he dropped 17 assists. Like, this guy's crazy. Which actually we can start there. I don't mind his points plus assists or his points tonight. This is a Suns team that has not been covering the point guard position as of late, allowing the 7th most points to the point guard position here, and then allowing plenty of, I think, they're top 10 in terms of allowing assists to the point guard as well. Halliburton, you get him at 19.5. I think that those are fair odds. If it gets to 20.5, I guess I still roll with it, but I don't mind him just to get to that 20 number, right? So, yeah, give me Halliburton. That's really the main player prop that I like in this spot. I mean, the guy came back and scored 21 points in his first game, right? Only shooting 14 times. He shot, I think, 45% from the field, something like that. So, yeah, I think that he's going to get right back into the rhythm of things and be good to go. Now, where we'll go next is the total here. I don't mind the under. I know we're taking a lot of unders on today's slate, but this is an Atlanta team that, an Indiana team that came back. You know, they got their guys back. They got Siakam. A lot of change in that offense, and we saw 115 points against Portland on, I believe it was that Friday night. So it's like, yikes. Like, they got some growing pains to do, and I don't think the Suns right now are the team that you're trying to grow against. They have 4 straight wins, and you know what, I'll say it, I was really impressed with that win against New Orleans. They won 123 to 109. Like, yeah, they were, I think, 2-point dogs or even 2-point, whatever it was. Like, I was really impressed with that win in New Orleans. Now they're at home here. Give me the Suns, to kind of play some defense and slow down that Pacers team. And kind of tipping my hand there too, right? I like the Suns minus the points in this spot as well. All right, guys, if you are watching right now, make sure to comment 12 because you made it 12 minutes into the video. That's how I suss out the guppies and the real ones, right? Part of the Fade Squad. People that actually make it to the end of the videos, because I love, one of my favorite things, and I guess it's kind of trolly, so whatever, right? Or immature, but I love when I see the comments of, why is everyone saying 12 in the comments? What's up with 12? Like, and I'm like, oh man, oh man, it's like, tell me you didn't watch the video without telling me. So those are the same people that are like, what are the plays for today? I'm like, I just spent so much time waking up early, getting graphics, editing videos, and then talking for a half hour, and you're gonna ask me what the plays are? Yikes. But guys, go ahead and drop 12 in the comments if you made it this far. I do think it's funny. Those people, like, no kidding, people don't watch the entire video, but I just love when people like comment that, and it's like, hey, if you know, you know. I usually just like reply with a laughing emoji. But nonetheless, guys, we got the Lakers taking on the Blazers for our last game here. I think it's a lot of points, obviously. Like, this is a Lakers team that I've kind of said over and over again I don't necessarily trust. But that being said, the Portland Trail Blazers I think I trust less, and they've won 2 games in a row here as underdogs. So it's like, they don't make it 3 in a row, right? Now they're on the road. They don't make it 3 in a row. They just can't. So give me the Lakers minus the points. I'm not going to touch it from a final play perspective just because it is honestly such a big number for the Lakers, right? Like, this Lakers team hasn't covered that. They've not covered that 9 times in their last 10 games here, which is a lot. 90% of the last 10 games, they have not won by 11 points. In terms of some player props here, I do think we start to see some, which is funny because this is a Blazers team that Anthony Davis should go off against, but DeAndre Ayton is back. I think that kind of stops things a little bit, clogs it a little bit, and we should start to see Anthony Davis kind of coming back down to earth at some point. But I say that with like a grimace almost, because it's like, do we really bet against Anthony Davis? We've done it before. He's killed us. And that line's kind of moving accordingly, right? Like his PRA line has dropped 3 in the last, week and a half. So I don't mind his unders just because of the inflated line, but it's kind of getting back down to earth, which makes it a little bit scary. And I know we've already pulled out of our ass a couple unders against some good players in today's video, which makes it a little, worrisome as well. But another spot I don't mind is going to be looking at Anthony Simons here under 31.5 PRAs. I think he can have a good game, but this guy is fairly one-dimensional when it comes to playing. He's going to score a lot of points, and maybe he'll get, a couple assists and a couple of rebounds here. But 31.5, he can go for 25, 4, and 4, and, have a great night and just barely get this over. If he goes and drops, say, 25, 2, and 2, all of a sudden he's under, right? So I do think it's really going to come down to those assists lines, but his points have been even strugglesome as of late, if that's a word. He's only hit over 20 points in once of his last 5 games. So I do think that this is sort of an inflated line. Tons of potential for him to be able to go out there and do it, obviously. But yeah, I kind of like that under, just because, again, I think he's going to really try to score because he's been rocky when it comes to scoring. And I don't know if the assists and rebounds come. And even if they do, like, 4 and 4 would be great for him, assists and rebounds, I would say. Maybe you could say 5 and 4, right? If he scores 21 points, over 20, that's still not enough to cash us over. So looking at the under there as well. Now, in terms of a total, I don't think I talked on that just yet. I'm going to lean towards the over, just because I don't think either one of these defenses obviously is something that, you'd say carries their wins with defense. So yeah, I'll lean towards the over ever so slightly, but don't love that spot. In fact, I've said that enough in today's slate, right? It's like you don't want to force love into slates, obviously. We got 6 games to choose from. We got plenty of angles here, but it's not my favorite slate in the entire world. But nonetheless, guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're cruising towards 50,000 subscribers. Are you kidding me? Less than 200 away. Go ahead and hit that sub button, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.